Almost there. Okay, we are live. You can proceed, Mayor. Thank you.
As Mayor of the City of Branson, I call this meeting to order. We'll begin with the Pledge of Allegiance that led virtually by me. You see a flag being held up? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States
of America
and for the
republic
which it stands. Are we cutting in and out? It appears we are. Let's begin again. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States
of America
and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. That was a solo, it sounded like. All right. The preamble to the Missouri Constitution. We, the people of Missouri, with profound reverence for the supreme ruler of the universe and grateful for his goodness, do establish this Constitution for the better government of the state. Now we ask Ted Martin to give the invocation.
Good evening. Join me in prayer. Our most gracious Heavenly Father, we thank you for another beautiful day in the Ozarks. As we enter the Christmas season, we're thankful for what that stands for the birth of your son, Jesus. Thankful for a great adoration parade this past weekend, as many came to see the real reason and the gift, as you will, of the adoration scene on Mount Branson. Father, pray that you'll be with this board this evening as they work on the business of the city, but that everything that we do be in your honor and glory. As we bring this agenda before you, invite you into our homes as we meet virtually. Father, we thank you for employees like Summer Hankins, from the planning department. Summer, one of 250 plus great employees that serve our citizens and our visitors here. Father, thanks again for the many blessings for Branson, Missouri. We love you and praise you. In Jesus' name, amen.
Amen. Thank you. At this time, Madam Clerk, would you call the roll?
Your Honor, King.
Here.
Whitus.
Here.
Simmons.
Here.
Akers.
Here.
Skanes.
Here.
Milton.
Unmute, Larry.
here.
C.
Here.
Your Honor, we have a quorum.
Thank you. Welcome you to the board meeting tonight. This will be an unusual meeting tonight. Obviously, we're doing it for the first time virtually, and we ask that you all pay attention if you have comments or questions about it. Unfortunately, because of the system that's set up, you won't be able to reply to us, but we encourage you to let us know how you think things went. Excuse me. Am I off? Am I back on? Can you hear me? All right. This time I'd like to ask the clerk to please read the introduction for this virtual meeting tonight.
This meeting is being held virtually due to the COVID-19 virus and the recommendations of the Centers for Disease Control, along with the state and city emergency proclamations that are in effect. We will review our procedures for conducting tonight's meeting. Participants in this meeting who will be joining the meeting virtually include members of the Board of Aldermen and city staff. The microphones of all board members and staff members participating in the meeting should be muted at all times so as not to impede the ability of meeting participants and observers to hear the proceedings. Members of the board and staff who wish to speak will raise their hand and be recognized by the mayor. Every time a board or staff member speaks, they will unmute their mic, state their name and title so that other participants and those listening to or observing the meeting will know who is speaking. Members of the public were invited to speak by signing up prior to tonight's meeting by using a link to a speaker sign-up form for virtual meetings. Those who have signed up will be able to speak on the items they requested to speak on. Please note public comments will be limited to 5 minutes and discussion on all other agenda items will be 3 minutes unless additional time is allowed by the mayor. The speaker will be notified when there are 30 seconds remaining of their allotted speaking time. The voting procedure for tonight's meeting will be by a roll call vote on every action item before the board. The city clerk will call the name of each board member for their vote and will announce the results. Thank you.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. This is Mayor Akers speaking again. Can you help us expedite tonight's meeting? Would you tell us what items have speakers signed up to speak on?
Your Honor, today we had our deadline at noon today, and at that time we had 2 speakers sign up for public comment, and we have no other speakers signed up for the rest of the meeting.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. First, I'd ask if there's any questions of any of the board members about tonight's procedures. Anyone got any? Larry?
There we go. I don't know if this was something new, but are we now, it looks like we're limiting our speakers on agenda items to 3 minutes. Is that something new?
That's what we set up for the virtual meeting, Larry, yes.
Okay.
It's not new for 3 minutes. We had that in the past at other meetings, but that's what we've set up for tonight.
Thank you.
All right, any other comments? All right. First, I'd like to recognize Alderman C as he makes a special presentation to Summer Hankins.
Is Summer online with us?
She is not. I don't believe so.
Okay. Anyways, it is my privilege to present the City of Branson's Service and Excellence Employee of the Month Award for December 2020 to Planning and Development Department Office Assistant 3, Summer Hankins. This award is to recognize employees who have gone above and beyond and whose performance exemplifies the City of Branson's values. Summer has taken the initiative to take on a leadership role in the implementation of CitizenServe, the Planning and Development Department's new software system that makes the development and building permit process in Branson more efficient and transparent for the customers and staff. The success of that project would not have been possible without her helpful attitude she has shown to the citizens of Branson. Summer's insight and willingness to help and train staff members across all departments has been integral in the program's success. She has gone above and beyond to take the role of teacher, advocate, and even cheerleader in bringing this system online. Her genuine friendliness and kindness with every person she interacts with is a testament to her commitment to customer service. On the behalf of the Mayor, Board of Aldermen, City Administrator, and City staff, it's my honor to present this plaque naming Summer Hankins as the City of Branson's December 2020 Service and Excellence Employee of the Month.
Thank you, Alderman C. And Summer, congratulations. It's a sitting ovation since we're all sitting down, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
All right.
Yes, and I've dealt with Summer a lot of times in the past in the permit process, and I must say she takes a lot of guff from a lot of these rough and tumble contractors here in town, and she just does it with a smile. And her and Carrie do a great job there in that office.
Well, thank you. Thank you. At this time, I would like to recognize people in our community through a proclamation. It's a proclamation honoring healthcare and frontline workers and proclaiming December 8, 2020 as Healthcare and Frontline Worker Day. Whereas it is recognized that frontline and healthcare workers must continue to work and keep and protect our community's health and well-being, regardless of the circumstances that they're presented with. And whereas there is a state of emergency in our nation, state, and municipality that is affecting all of our communities because of COVID-19. And whereas workers in our community place themselves at risk every day for the good of all. And whereas their tireless, selfless efforts, and especially critical today during COVID-19 pandemic. Now, therefore, I, E. Ed Akers, Mayor of the City of Branson, do hereby proclaim this day the day of December 8th, 2020 as Healthcare and Frontline Worker Day. I encourage everyone to thank our healthcare and frontline workers in our community. In testimony, I have herefore set my hand and caused it to be affixed with the seal of the city of Branson in the state of Missouri on the 3rd day of December, 2020. Proclamation for recognizing people who do and have dealt with the front line and dealt directly with healthcare. Thanking them. All right, at this time, I'm ready to move on to the next item. It's the public comment section, and we do have 2 speakers, as the clerk has identified, that wish to speak with a 5-minute time limit, and there will be a notice of when there's only 30 seconds left.
Mayor, I would like to ask Director Forster if we have anybody in our waiting room to speak, if our speakers have showed up.
No, clerk, we do not have anyone in the room to speak this evening.
So Your Honor, our speakers who had signed up did not show up for the meeting.
Okay, all right. Do we have any idea whether they had trouble getting on or decided not to speak, or we don't have any clue, do we?
I spoke with one gentleman this afternoon. He indicated to me at that time he wasn't sure. I explained how to do it, and he sounded like he was clear on that. But he did indicate that he had family in town, and he just wasn't sure if he was going to be able to make it. And so I can't speak to the other person. They did not reach out to me directly, although I did contact them via email.
Okay. At this time, we're ready to move on to the consent agenda. Madam Clerk, we've already shared that there's no other speakers on any items. Any of the board members wish to speak on the consent agenda, and is there any item they'd like moved down? You waving your hand, Larry?
There we go. Yes, I'd like to move item number 12 down, please.
Well, all right. Any other items? All righty. At this point in time, Madam Clerk, would you please read the items on the consent agenda, less item 12, which we'll take as the first one on the main agenda.
Your Honor, the items on the consent agenda are as follows. Approval of the Board of Aldermen minutes, November 19th, 2020 study session, November 24th, 2020 regular meeting. Acknowledge receipt of minutes of the Planning Commission regular meeting on November 3rd, 2020, Budget and Finance Committee and Capital Improvement Committee joint meeting of October 22nd, 2020. Acknowledge receipt of Community Improvement District CID 2021 budgets for Branson Hills Infrastructure Facility CID, Branson Hills CID, 76 Entertainment CID, Historic Downtown Branson CID, Forsyth Road CID, Branson Commerce Park CID, Fall Creek Valley CID. Acknowledge receipt of annexation petition filed for property located at 287 Hunter Avenue, Branson, Missouri. Final reading of Bill number 5926, an ordinance accepting the terms of an agreement between the City of Branson and Tri-Lakes Biosolids Joint Municipal Utility Commission for Branson to provide contract operation of the biosolids dewatering and drying facilities and authorizing the mayor to execute the contract. Final reading of Bill number 5927, an ordinance approving a contract with S&S Pumping Incorporated to accept holding tank and special waste for treatment at the Branson wastewater treatment facilities and authorizing the mayor to execute the contract. Then a reading of Bill number 5929, an ordinance accepting the proposal of Branson Regional Arts Council pertaining to the provision of services to provide temporary public assistance and authorizing the mayor to execute the contract. Then a reading of Bill number 5930, an ordinance accepting the proposal of Elevate Branson pertaining to the provision of services to provide temporary public assistance and authorize the mayor to execute the contract. Final reading of Bill number 5931, an ordinance accepting the proposal of Faith Community Health Center Incorporated pertaining to the provision of services to provide temporary public assistance and authorizing the mayor to execute the contract. Final reading of Bill number 5932, an ordinance accepting the proposal of Taney Hills Community Library pertaining to the provision of services to provide temporary public assistance and authorizing the mayor to execute the contract. Final reading of Bill number 5933, an ordinance accepting the proposal of Women's Crisis Center of Taney County Incorporated pertaining to the provision of services to provide temporary public assistance and authorizing the mayor to execute the contract. Final reading of Bill number 5935, an ordinance accepting the proposal of Suddenly pertaining to data communications and authorizing the mayor to execute the contract. Final reading of Bill number 5936, an ordinance approving a contract with ThinkSpace IT pertaining to the purchase of Microsoft software licensing and authorizing the mayor to execute the contract. Final reading of Bill number 5937, an ordinance accepting the proposal of Newman Signs Incorporated pertaining to the purchase of signage supplies and authorizing the mayor to execute the contract. Final reading of Bill number 5938, an ordinance approving the second renewal of the services contract with Trade B Environmental Services, LLC, pertaining to the transportation disposal of household hazardous waste material and authorize the mayor to execute the contract. Your Honor, that concludes the reading of the consent agenda.
Thank you. The floor is open for a motion.
So moved.
All right, Jamie Whitus, motion.
Second.
Second. Who will make the original motion?
That was me, Julia.
Julia, thank you. All right. All right, we have a motion and a second. These are done by roll call votes, so the clerk will call your name and you will vote for approval or disapproval.
King,
Approve.
Whitus,
Approve.
Simmons,
Approve.
Akers,
Per-
I'm sorry, Skanes,
Yeah.
Gaines,
Yes.
Milton,
Yes.
Steve.
Approve.
The result of the vote is 6-0. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Madam Clerk. Thank you, Alderman.
Mr.
Ready to
Mayor,
move to the reg agenda.
I'm sorry to interrupt. We do have Mr. Dennison in as an attendee at this time. Being our first meeting, I just wanted to make sure and point that out in case you all wanted to allow him to speak. I know we've moved on the agenda, but I did just want to point that out.
Okay, we approved the consent agenda so we could listen to under the open session. I think would be appropriate. Obviously, it is new and there may have been trouble. So this time we'll recognize him. Madam Clerk, can you handle that, please?
Yes, sir. Our first speaker would be Bruce Dennison. His address is 220 Malone, Branson, and he's speaking on a follow-up to the 530 Iserman project zoning. And Director Forster will now bring him into the meeting.
Thank you.
All right, you are now in the meeting. If you could unmute yourself, Mr. Dennison, you begin your speaking. You have 5 minutes.
My only question is just follow up. I hadn't heard back from any city employee since the November 24th meeting in regards to the printed material that I gave to the council.
Mr. Dennison, I saw a communication in regard to the process and information where people had been contacted. Are you saying that you have not been contacted since the meeting?
I brought a petition in and handed it to Kirby before the 24th. I brought 10 copies to the council meeting. I had not heard back. If I was supposed to hear back from city employees, I had not.
Okay. Is that your comments then for the evening? And then all we can do now is to check into it and see what's happened.
Yeah, I believe so. I had a couple texts with my alderman, but hadn't heard anything back from the city if I was supposed to.
Which alderman have you been in touch with?
Larry Melton.
Okay. All right. Mr. Milton, do you have any additional information?
Well, Bruce and I have had several communications on this, and I shared with him my latest update after talking to Joel and Stan. And I think he understands the position that I shared. I think he's just I think he was just looking at some follow-up
Correct.
from somebody at the city. And Bruce, I'm assuming you're referring to Joel, maybe?
Yeah, and thank you, Larry. You're correct. There were those communications that I deeply appreciated from you, but I still left with unanswered questions. I got an email this afternoon from Joel to give him a call. I was swamped with work this afternoon, and I asked if he'd be so kind to email. And then he says, we got a call from your attorney. I don't have an attorney.
Well, obviously, there's more information we need to gather. I'm sorry
Sure.
that we weren't aware that you had made contact. Chris Lebec is asking to speak.
Thank you,
Hello,
Mr.
Chris.
Mayor. I just want to make the board aware that the city of Branson got a contact today from the Ingram Law Firm. They held themselves out to be representing Mr. Dennison in this situation. So based on that and the potential conflicts that that causes, I advised Director Hornicle that we needed to communicate through his attorney. Mr. Dennison did respond to us today, December 8th, 5:42 p.m., that he isn't represented by an attorney. So hopefully that clarifies that. We'll be glad to follow up with him. But given the fact that an attorney contacted the city, held themselves out as representing Mr. Dennison, that kind of puts us in a bit of handcuffs, if you will.
In all respect, that's not accurate information. The call from Ingram was not my direction. I have no retainer. I don't have an attorney.
Okay. Then we'll have to do some more checking into it. I appreciate you coming on to share. It seems there has been communication. We just haven't communicated internally very well. And so I appreciate you getting that to us, and we will look into it and get a response back to you.
Very good. Why, thank you.
Thank you.
Okay.
All righty. Are we ready to move to the item that was pulled down from the agenda? Item 12, I think it was. Madam Clerk, could you provide the information?
Your Honor, this is the final reading of Bill number 5934, an ordinance approving the contract with the Branson Lakes Area Chamber of Commerce and Convention and Visitors Bureau pertaining to tourism and marketing services, and authorizing the mayor to execute the contract.
Okay. Do we have anyone that on staff that wants to report on this? Since we didn't have time to be able to change everything for a regular agenda item, I'm just kind of going by the format that we've used on others.
Mr. Mayor, no further information to add on this other than what's already on the consent agenda.
Okay. All right. At this time, I would just ask Mr. Milton, you asked for it to be pulled down. Will you please share with us your reasoning?
Yes, I know at the last meeting when we had our first reading, there was quite a bit of dialogue on this. So I really wanted to pull it down to see if the board, if our board would have any consideration. The question on the table last time was after Chris Meyer shared several, I think, enlightening observations of the contract. I asked at the last meeting if we would consider just to extend our existing contract for 60 days so we can make improvements to this contract instead of just approving it the way it is. So I wanted to pull it down. I don't know if any of the aldermen have had any communications or any thoughts on extending it for 60 days so we can improve it. So if that
Are you making a motion?
Yeah, I was going to say.
Your Honor, could we get this on the floor, please?
Okay. All right. You've heard the first reading of bill number 5934. Do I have a motion approving the bill?
So move.
Is
Bill?
there? Yeah, Bill Skanes. 2 seconds.
Alderman White is second.
Alderman White is seconds. All right. So it's on the floor. Mr. Milton.
Yep, so I'd like to make a motion that we extend our existing CVB contract for 60 days to allow our staff in the CVB to make improvements to the contract.
Is there a second for that motion? I see none. It dies for a lack of second. Let's move on to voting on bill number 5939. It will be a roll call vote. So
Yes.
I'll ask the clerk to read the names.
King,
Approve.
Whitus,
Yes.
Simmons,
Yes.
Gaines,
Yes.
Milton,
No,
C.
Yes.
Your Honor, we have a vote of 5-1, 5 yes and 1 no.
It passes. Item number 18 has been voted and approved, 5-1. Ready to move on to item number 19. Madam Clerk, would you please provide the introduction?
Your Honor, this is a resolution adopting the City of Branson's legislative agenda for the year 2021.
Begin with a staff report from Jeff Matthews. Nope. Yeah, it's Jeff Matthews. Yeah.
Mr. Mayor, I think you got that one.
That would be item number 17, Your Honor, and it would be
Oh, I'm sorry. I've turned over too many pages. I apologize.
Attorney Lebeck. Thank you.
All right. Thank you. Attorney Lebeck is recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Good evening, everybody. If you recall, this resolution is a result of the study session that we had with the Board of Aldermen back on November 19th, where we presented a number of priorities that city staff had come up with. The idea behind that study session was to build consensus amongst those priorities that the board felt were both major and minor priorities for the city of Branson. This resolution that's before the board today, these are the priorities that will be the center of our lobbying efforts in Jefferson City this year with the help of Capital Solutions Consulting. And this will be during, unfortunately, a very challenging legislative session starting in January, where we anticipate COVID business liability and Wayfair to be at the center of the legislative session. We are recommending approval of this resolution so that Capital Solutions Consulting and city staff can begin our lobbying efforts. With that being said, there is one item for the board to be aware of. Since we met during the study session, Alderman Gaines, Director Hornicle, and myself, we were approached by members of both our lodging and theater community to discuss converted one-room apartment living facilities, or what we commonly refer to as coral properties. As a result of that, on December 2nd, we had a very productive virtual meeting regarding a loophole in state law that allows hotels and motels within the city to act like apartments and thus operate as what we call coral facilities. So from that conversation, we determined that there is another opportunity for a legislative priority for the city to focus on to help address these properties at the state level, these properties that are hotels that are acting like apartments, with the goal being that they provide safe and sanitary living conditions. So as a result of that, staff's recommending approval of this resolution, but we are also asking in addition for two additional major priorities. First, we would ask that the board consider adding an additional priority that says we support changes to Chapter 315 of the Missouri Revised Statutes to improve the health, safety, and living conditions of permanent guests in lodging establishments. And then second, we'd ask that the board consider adding we support changes to state legislation that clarify the definition of permanent guest and the use of lodging establishments. Again, the idea behind these two things are the definition of permanent guest in state law in combination with what we define as a lodging establishment causes this loophole for these type of facilities to exist. I'm happy to answer any questions. And Mr. Mayor, I would encourage you to provide Alderman Gaines an opportunity to address this priority since he was a member, these two new priorities since he was a member of this conversation once this item is on the floor. Thank you.
All right, is there clarity on what Chris is asking us to do? Okay. Do I have a motion adopting the resolution with the additions?
Your
So
Honor,
moved, Mr. Mayor. Go ahead.
could we please just get the original resolution on the floor and then we'll ask for the amendment? Thank you.
Okay, all right. Then I have a motion for the original resolution.
So moved, Mr. Mayor. Bill.
Is there
Second.
a second? All right. Any discussion from Alderman at this point? Alderman Skanes?
No, sir. We have to make what I understand is an amendment, adding the chapter 315 in a separate motion. I think that's what the clerk has asked us to do.
Okay, and then at that point in time, you may have something you want to add.
Yes, sir.
Okay, thank you. Then we ready to vote on the original resolution?
We would want it,
Do I have a motion adopting the resolution?
Your Honor, just a second.
Yes,
we
Madam
have-
Clerk.
Alderman Simmons.
Oh, okay. You're muted, Bob. Bob, you're muted. You have to press your mute button. There you
You're
go.
right. Now I'm not muted. Thank you. I haven't been able to pull that copy up real quickly here on a third machine, but item 6 on that, we are demanding in our secondary priorities that they address something. Seems like if we're going to demand something, it should be in our primary priorities and or change it to where we're not demanding it. I don't know if anybody has a way to put that on the screen or not, so they know what we're talking about.
I don't think there's any way we can demand, is there?
That's what it says in our number 6 priority. We have no strengths to demand.
Is there any
Good,
comment in regard to?
Could Chris comment on that?
Chris Lebec, can you make a?
Yeah, Mr. Mayor, thank you. Just a second here. What I was going to ask is, Chad, is there an opportunity for me to share my screen here? I will pull up that agenda item so we can look at it.
Sure can. Yep.
So let me get to it here.
Let me know.
Just give me 1 second. All right, Chad, I think I'm ready to share my screen if you can go ahead and do that for me.
Chris, you're a co-host now. You should have the share screen button.
Okay, very good. Thank you. Well,
If you need me to, I can pull up the agenda and share it. Are you looking at just that one item to share the list?
I have it. I've been somehow punted from the meeting just now. Hold on here. Here we go. Let's do this. Let's see here.
You'll see you.
You can still see me. That's good. Give me 1 second. This should get us there. Trying to figure out which screen we want. And let's do. Stand by, everybody. I appreciate your patience. We've got too many windows open right now as I was trying to get prepped for this. That's strange. Let's see here.
If you'd like me to share it, I can, Chris. Are you just looking to share that item, that your item, or is it something?
Yeah, if you could just, Chad, humor me and share Exhibit 1, which is page 223 of 267 of the board packet. Thank you.
One moment.
But Chris, a quick question. The demand is of our lobbyist, the advocate, right?
Correct. So what Alderman, while Chad's bringing that up, what Alderman Simmons has zeroed in on, which is extremely valid, and I appreciate his identifying this, is under number 6. It says we demand the establishment of a statutory framework for bond and bail for repeat and violent offenders. So what he's after, so again, what we did, and again, this was after the consensus we built during the study session, is we basically boxed major priorities and minor priorities. And number 6 was put into minor priorities, but with a demand. And I think the idea, and I don't want to speak for Alderman Simmons, is maybe if this is going to be a demand, either move it to a major priority or soften that word from demand to desire or something else. And I'll.
Yes. Chris?
Yes, sir.
That's exactly what I was asking. That does seem to be a very important thing to me. It's a problem all over the state. So I would be okay with moving it up to major priorities and maybe softening that wording just a little bit.
So what is a good idea, Alderman, while we're doing this on the fly, was say maybe something to the effect of make a motion to move item 6 from minor priorities to item 3 under major priorities, and at the same time change the word demand to encourage in that item. Would that get us to where you want us to be?
I would make that motion just like that. Thank you.
Mr. Mayor, this is Bill. I second that motion.
All right, well, I think we need to vote on we haven't had the roll call on the first vote. So that would be part of an amendment.
Your Honor, we would be ready for that motion to make item 6 up to item number 3 under the major and change the demand to encourage. And I have a motion by Alderman Simmons and a second by Alderman Skanes, and we would be ready for a vote or for discussion and then a vote.
All right, thank you for the clarification. Any additional discussion?
Just to clarify, that's just going to bump 3 down to 4.
Yeah, that will automatically renumber it. Yes, it will.
Okay. And then what are they going to try to follow our numbers, 1, 2, 3 being the top, or how do we push that? I guess that'd be for Chris.
Yeah.
Thank you, Alderman C. If I understand the question correctly, the way I'm going to explain this to our lobbyist is basically these are our 3 major priorities, and then these are our minor priorities. So not giving anyone any more weight than any others. As I've alluded to in the staff report, we do have some concern that it's going to be a hard row to hoe this legislative session, given kind of where our legislature is focused. But with that being said, if we see an opportunity to slip one of these things in, we're going to try to take it.
Gotcha. So we'll just stay underfoot, have it in front of them.
Exactly.
Great. Thanks, Chris.
Are you ready to vote on the motion to move the item from a minor to a major? Please have a roll call.
King,
Approve.
Whitus,
Yes.
Simmons,
Yes.
Skanes,
Yes.
Milton,
Yes.
C.
Yes.
Your Honor, it passes 6-0. Thank you.
Right. Now we're ready to vote on the original item with the change that has been made.
Your Honor,
Yes.
Your Honor,
Yes.
I can read that. We have a motion. I believe that Mr. Skanes, Alderman Skanes would like to add in at this moment, and I can read that back to you if you'd like.
Okay, so do we not then, we haven't approved the original resolution at this time, have we?
And that's correct, but we will want to get all of our amendments in first, and then we'll take a vote after that to approve as totally amended with all the amendments in.
Okay, that's where I misunderstood you earlier. All right, thank you. All right, Alderman Skanes, recognized.
Yes, sir. As reference to what Chris had discussed a little earlier, we met with the Lodging Association group, and they've given their stamp of approval to this particular wording, and I'd like to offer this as an amendment here. Your Honor, I move to have the 2021 legislative priorities amended by adding under major priorities, number 3, to read as follows. We support the changes to Chapter 315 of the Missouri Revised Statutes to improve the safety, health, and living conditions of permanent guest and lodging establishments. We support changes to state legislation that clarify the definition of the permanent guest and the use of lodging establishments.
You've heard the motion. The only thing that might change would be now number 4, since we have a 3. And so we can get that done. But is there motion and a second? All right. Is there any discussion? Alderman C.
Bill, the definition of a resident, is that the 30-day stay type of deal? Or you want to explain that a little bit?
I have to refer that back over to Chris, Jeff.
Gotcha. Okay.
Yeah, that's a good question, Alderman C. So in Chapter 315, they have this concept called a permanent guest. And what a permanent guest is somebody that stays in a lodging establishment for more than 30 days. So this is the scenario where we have people staying in lodging establishments like their apartments. So the idea here is trying to work with our legislature to come up with a better terminology to define permanent guests. Because again, we have hotels, we have motels, we have things like residence inns where there are extended stay hotels, and then we have hotels that are being used in fact as apartments, because again, permanent guest is a definition under 315, and these hotels, motels fall under the definition of lodging establishment. So the idea is work to come up with a solution to where we have certain code requirements at the state level so that people that are staying as permanent guests in these choral faculties, these lodging establishments, are given certain minimum levels of amenities, if you will, if that makes sense.
Gotcha. So the workaround's been they stay for 29 days and just move to the room next door. Sort of a loophole type of deal?
No, there's not even that workaround. It's just because there is no state lodging code dealing specifically with choral properties.
Okay.
They don't have to move from room to room. People can just park in a hotel room for 6 months or 3 months or a year. So again, the goal here, what we're trying to get after, is making a new classification of property at the state level for these hybrid properties that sit between apartments and what we would consider a traditional hotel motel.
Gotcha. So we're looking for a solid definition.
Exactly.
Okay. Thanks, Chris.
Any additional questions?
Mr. Mayor, I just want to add that we did this in consultation with the Lodging Association, and then they also had conversations with the state lodging group, and they support moving this. They possibly are going to be other requests made of their representatives and senators from other areas. We would not be alone, from what I gather. I guess what I'm trying to say.
Alderman King, did you have, I thought I saw you. All right. Can't even scratch your nose without me noticing you can. All right. Any other comments? Then are we ready for a roll call vote with the amendments?
We are ready. King,
Approved.
Whitus,
Yes.
Simmons,
Bob, you're muted. Yeah.
Takes a while to get unmuted. Yes.
Gaines,
Yes.
Milton,
Yes.
C.
Yes.
Your Honor, the vote is 6-0. It passes.
Okay. Now, is that due then when we vote with on the whole item with the amendments, or is that just now taken care of?
No, Your Honor, we're ready to vote on the item, the resolution as amended, unless there's any other discussion.
Okay, thank you. Any other discussion? Since you want to vote, please do a roll call.
King,
Approve.
Whitus,
Yes.
Simmons,
Yes.
Gaines,
Yes.
Milton,
Yes.
C.
Yes.
Your Honor, it passes 6-0.
Passes 6-0. Ready to move on to item number 18. Encourage you to mute your screens while additional discussion is taking place, and then be called on. This will
Excuse
be item
Mayor?
18.
Mayor,
Yes.
I just like to point out, I just wanted to mention to our Chris, our attorney, that the way he interacted with Bob Simmons on this last deal, Bob was attempting to make an amendment, and Attorney Lebec helped him with the specific language and the placement of that. And in the past, when I've tried to make an amendment, I've been instructed, Mr. Alderman Milton, I need to hear the exact language and exactly where you want to put it. So I just wanted to make it a point that in the future, when I attempt to make an amendment, I would appreciate the same courtesy.
Mr. Milton, thank you for your opinion. I believe that I've seen courtesy for all of our aldermen trying to do stuff, and I hope that you would understand that Chris is trying to do the best job he can. And I respect how he does things, but sometimes there's confusion. And I just encourage you to recognize there is confusion sometimes. Alrighty, we're ready to move on to item number 18. Madam Clerk, would you please provide an introduction?
Your Honor, this is the first reading of Bill number 5939, an ordinance approving the engagement letter with Cochran Head Vick and Company, PC, pertaining to auditing services and authorizing the mayor to execute the contract.
Right. Begin with staff report from Jamie Roush.
Thank you, Mayor and members of the board. This is the first renewal for our auditing engagement services. In March 19th of 2020, the Board of Aldermen awarded Cochran Head and Vick our auditing services for 2019's fiscal year. This will be the first renewal and for 4 additional years. We are recommending renewal of the auditing service for not to exceed $53,950. And this will be for fiscal year 2020 auditing. And I'm happy to answer any questions.
All right, you've heard the first reading of bill number 5939. Do I have a motion approving this bill?
So moved, Mr. Mayor. This is Bill.
Mr. Gaines recognized.
Second.
Larry Melton recognized. All right, we have a motion and a second. Any additional discussion?
Mr. Mayor, this is Bill. I just
Yeah.
wanted to know what it cost us for this year for the audit.
I believe this year was 52,000. It's grown just a little bit, but I'll get the exact number and send it out to you certainly.
My question would be then, Jamie, and I appreciate this, why wouldn't it be the same amount if they have familiarity with the process is all?
Well, that's a good question. And I know that it'll grow a little bit every year. But again, I don't have that number in front of me. So I'd like to be able to get the exact number for you and let you know that if that's all right.
That is, I just like to hold them as close to the vest as possible is all.
Absolutely, myself included. I would like that too. Thank you.
Just a comment, maybe for clarification, there has been some additional accounting services required with the approval of the SID, because the SID comes under our process also for audit. And so there's been some increased services that are required. So we may see some of that, but just a comment so that we understand that there may be changes in some of the services.
Yes,
All
sir.
right,
And there will also be, if we have a single audit due to some of the grant funds that we've been receiving, that'll be an additional cost as well. But it's not to exceed $53,950.
okay. All right. Are you ready to vote? I'd ask for a roll call, please.
King,
Approve.
Whitus,
Yes.
Simmons,
Yes.
Gaines,
Yes.
Milton,
Yes.
C.
Yes.
Your Honor, we have a 6-0 vote and it passes.
Approved. Thank you. Ready to move on to item number 19. Madam Clerk, I was trying to be here a while ago, but now I'm there. So would you please read this to us?
Your Honor, this is the first reading of Bill number 5940, an ordinance approving an intergovernmental agreement between Taney County and the City of Branson for mutual aid and police services and authorizing the mayor to execute the contract.
Begin with a staff report from Jeff Matthews. Recognize Jeff Matthews. Jeff, are you hearing?
If you're muted. Yeah, I can have a technician come down. I'm not sure.
Jeff, I can hear you, I think. No? Okay. This is a new venture, as we talked about earlier, and some screens have things very convenient. That's why I'm using the screen that I'm most familiar with to be in this process. So it's if it's new, it's hard to deal with sometimes.
Chief, you have a technician on the way. Take just a second to get downstairs. I don't know if we want to wait or come back to this item. Not sure what to do in the process, but
Well, it shouldn't take too long once the technician is there, I would assume, just to find the unmute button. Chad, do you expect it to take what, more time?
well, we're on the third floor, and my technician's walking down to the bottom floor, so he'll be there in just a moment.
Okay.
Hopefully, it's something pretty quick.
It's a matter of distance. Huh?
If Chief can hear me, I can try. Chief Matthews, do you see your mute button? There's a little arrow pointing up next to that microphone. Do you see that small arrow?
It's unmuted right now.
Right, but if you click that small arrow, you get another list of options, and there's a select a microphone option. Does that show up at all? You hit the arrow next to your mute microphone. Do you get a?
Yes.
Oh, there you go.
There it is. Okay. Hey.
Julia, you're hired.
Mayor and members of the board, this is an intergovernmental agreement between the city of Branson and the Taney County to provide, it allows the Branson Police Department to take emergency police actions in jurisdictional areas outside of the city of Branson, but within Taney County, and likewise with Taney County inside of the Branson area. This agreement is effective January the 1st of next year and runs through December the 31st of 2024. Staff recommends approval, Mayor. Be available for any questions.
Thank you, Jeff. You've heard the first reading of Bill 5940. Do I have a motion approving the bill?
So moved. This is Julia.
Motion. All right.
Alderman White is second.
Wait a second. All right. Thank you. Please, any alderman have any additional comments or questions for Chief Matthews?
Mr. Mayor, this is Bill. Chief, is there an issue of liability leaving our jurisdiction and pursuing somebody outside of our jurisdiction? How are we covered that way?
So if it's a continuing offense that originates in our jurisdiction, we have the authority. But if it's somewhere outside of the jurisdiction and we don't start it, then we have to have the county with us.
Okay.
Unless it's an emergency agreement where it's a, like I said, originated in our jurisdiction.
As in hot pursuit.
Yes, sir.
Thank you, Chief.
All right. Madam Clerk, would you please do a roll call?
King,
Approve.
Whitus,
Yes.
Simmons,
Yes.
Skanes,
Yes, ma'am.
Milton,
Yes.
C.
Yes.
We have approval with a 6-0 vote, Your Honor.
Thank you. It's approved. All right. The next section, item number 20, is on appointments. The appointment process is in accordance with the board and committee appointments procedure. I'm requesting the following appointments to be made for category 5, on which the board votes. Under category 5, the 76 Entertainment Community Improvement District, the CID board. I make the nomination of Steve Presley, appointment to the 76 Entertainment CID board, replacing Jamie Whitus with a term expiring March 2024. Make the appointment of Gail Meyer, reappointment to the 76 Entertainment CID board with a term expiring March 2024. And Jamie Whitus, appointment of the 76 Entertainment CID district as a City of Branson representative to fill the unexpired term of Joe Hornicle until March 2022. Do I have a motion to approve the appointments as listed in category 5?
Mr. Mayor, this is Bill. I so move.
Motion's been made.
Second.
Jeff C. makes a second. All right. Any discussion?
I'm trying to figure out where Jamie's going to have the time to do anything anymore. Work, 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 work. That's what you're supposed to do, isn't
It'd be good after Christmas.
it?
Well, he's actually smiling pretty good now before Christmas. A lot
Okay.
of folks in town, that's for sure. All right. Well, now we are ready to vote.
Yes.
Madam Clerk, roll call, please.
King,
Approve.
Whitus,
Yes.
Simmons,
Yes, I'm sorry.
Gaines,
Yes, ma'am.
Milton,
Yes.
C.
Yes.
Your Honor, we have approval with a 6-0 vote.
Thank you. And I want to thank all of the folks who have been appointed for their willingness to serve. Finding good people to serve is just really a pleasure. And so I'm glad to see those names volunteering to be on the CID board. Ready to go to the disbursements, item number 21. The next item is a review of the disbursements from November 6, 2020 through November 24, 2020. Are there any questions regarding the disbursements? All of this information was sent out to Aldermen last Thursday, I believe. They've had information, so they've had a chance to do any kind of review if need to. Are there any discussion or questions? All right. Do I have a motion to acknowledge the receipt of disbursements from November 6, 2020 through November 24th, 2020?
So moved.
Recognize Julia for the motion. Second.
Second.
Jeff C. Second. All right. Any discussion? Please provide a roll call, Madam Clerk.
King,
Approve.
Whitus,
Yes.
Simmons,
Yes.
Gaines,
Yes.
Milton,
Yes.
C.
Yes.
The vote is 6-0 and it passes.
Approved. We now move on to reports. Any alderman? Alderman King, begin with you.
I just want to thank our technology staff for allowing us to be productive during the COVID pandemic so that we can have this meeting virtually. So I know that they worked really hard and it can be trying sometimes, but I appreciate their hard efforts. Aside from that, I just want everyone to have a safe holiday.
Thank you. Alderman Whitus?
Well, Julia stole all the things I was going to talk about, but yes, thank you to staff, Chad and your group. Thank you for getting this set up. Went pretty good, and everybody. Just hope everybody has a joyous holiday season. It's unlike any other year, but let's just do what we can to make the best of it.
All right, Alderman Simmons.
Yes, pretty well the same. Just everybody have a wonderful holiday season here and Christmas. And it's been a tough year, and we've pretty well responded as best we could. And we're looking forward, or I'm looking forward to 2021.
Thank you. Alderman Skanes.
Yes, sir. And thank to Julia for being so eloquent with her words. First of all, Mr. Mayor, I think we need to do a commercial for insurance with the video that off our meeting here today. We were humorous. It was very fun. I would like to have everybody wish everybody a very safe Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year, and a lot of love to the families and the employees of the city of Branson. Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Alderman Milton.
Just want to wish everybody a Merry Christmas.
Thank you. Alderman C.
Yes, it's a pleasure to live down here in Ward 2 around all the activity here at Branson Landing. The electronic tree looks great. Watched the parade there from the square, and the adoration up on the hill just looks wonderful. So good weather for the parade, and same with me. Just happy holidays to everyone.
Thank you. Thank you. Administrator Dobbins.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I would simply like to say that I'm extremely proud of not just the IT staff, but the whole staff of this city for the way they've responded to this year. It's been unique. I'm very proud of them. They're great people and they've worked very hard. I would also like to offer Julia a job in the IT department to help us with our microphones. And lastly, I would like to say, God bless each of you and Merry Christmas to you and your families. Please be safe. And I enjoy our interactions that we have. It's truly a blessing to me. God bless you all. Have a great weekend.
Thank you all, Administrator Dobbins. As this year comes to an end, I would like to thank our city staff, our BOA, our Board of Aldermen, for seeking to do their best to protect our citizens, our businesses, and our workers. I believe decisions have been made that have kept Branson open and earned the trust of our visitors to come and support our economy. Please continue to look to a brighter future as a community working together for the benefit of all. I wanted to write that down because I wanted to make sure that I got all the stuff in, but I feel that we've had a year that we've learned a lot from, and you learn a lot from adversity. And we've had lots of issues and lots of problems that we've had to deal with. And I thank you all for sticking with it and seeking to do the right thing and trying to help our citizens. I look forward to this coming year, like Mr. Simmons meant. It's going to be a better year. There's all kinds of things going on, and Branson will be Branson again. I do have, as you all know, I had COVID, and for my 10 days in quarantine, I grew this little thing on the end of my chin here, and I'm calling it my COVID goatee. And as soon as we get out of the mask and get back to some kind of normal, this sucker is going off. I no longer will have a goatee. So have a Merry Christmas, a blessed holiday, and I'll ask that we now move on to the adjournment of the meeting. Do I have a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
There's several there, it seems like. All right.
Bill, motion.
And second.
Larry, second.
Larry, second. All right. Madam Clerk, please now provide the roll call vote.
King,
Approve.
Whitus,
Yes.
Simmons,
Oh, Bob. It's me again. Yes.
Gaines,
Yes, ma'am.
Milton,
Yes.
C.
Yes.
Your Honor, we have a vote to 6-0 to adjourn. Thank you.